Hey there, Wareham's first licensed fortune teller here, reporting for duty on a trigger. Thanks for shuffling states of emergency into adoption spirit and steering clear of danger. Heartily, we are grateful. And I'm seriously thankful that you're here today, because that means you are so strong and so brave to get through everything that you've gone through. I don't know what it's been, but it's left you behind. Whether you're an orphan, an adoptee, a Romani, LGBTQ, gender expansive, there's so many reasons we get left behind by president, professional to parents, and it's devastating. So I applaud you for making it through, to get here, to join this course, to collaborate on how to transmute those violent cycles into love and adopt success for one and all, starting with you. That's bravery and courage. I feel blessed to be in the same space as you. And so grateful, again, just so grateful. You're so strong to see yourself through. People like us, so often misdiagnosed and mistreated as addict, ADHD, bipolar, criminal, dumbass, rude, ungrateful, that we're more likely to suicide exponentially. Adoptee 4 times more likely, Romani 7 times more likely, divorced children grown up more likely, on top of lashing out, overdosing, flunking out of family, school, and society. And so for you to overcome all of that, to dare to take responsibility for your loss and trauma, that's huge. So thank you for being here today. I am so grateful. Any questions you have now or throughout the course, feel free to leave in the chat. I want to make sure your questions are answered, and also that might help me address future enrollees as well, so we can create a whole beautiful adoption spirit magic culture together. It's not just all about me. I really value your feedback. So any questions, any feedback you have, please, you can leave them in the chat. And also, this is a safety meeting, so I want to invite you to use your power of discernment. It's a great gift. It's a wonderful gift. I'm trying not to use the word good or great in any of its derivatives, so I just replaced it with wonderful. Your power of discernment is a wonderful gift. And what that means is you're not just taking my word for things. You're quadruple checking what I say. You are checking in with yourself, your source, your spirit guides, your earthly teams before you take action. Because ultimately, you are the only one responsible for your actions. Not me, not a course I share with you on the internet, not anybody else, just you. You're the only one responsible for your actions. So please use your discernment. Take your time before moving forward with action, especially here in this course. All right. So that's a huge piece of this safety meeting. And I am so curious how come adoption has yet to solve the problem of leaving behind young through elder person, place, or thing, that I began looking for answers in my teens and 20s, and working in treatment centers, working in public and private high schools, and doing my own personal and professional development helped get me to this place where today I'm sharing a game with you. A game to help play through these losses and solve this problem that adoption hasn't solved yet. Scientific game, like one that you've already been playing. So hopefully this just makes playing through the losses and traumas much more manageable, because they're really fucking difficult. And it's based on the theory that maybe you've used in school, where you learned your multiplication tables with flashcards, or maybe you learned a new language with flashcards. So this becomes a science, as well as an art and a craft and a study and a practice. And that makes it super thrilling. And that it's a game, even more thrilling. So here's the challenge. Every day for the next year, just write one 3x5 card to add to your stacked for life worth living deck of cards. That's it. And, well, that's not it, but that's the main piece. If you could each day create a new card, whether it's an I am affirmation statement, or maybe you decide to doodle a piece of art or music, or face one of your fears, just one per day that you're adding to your stacked for life worth living deck of cards that you've already been playing, whether you realize it or not. That's the challenge. And shuffling through those cards and pulling out cards during your challenging times, during the losses and traumas that strike you this next year. That's the other piece. Like, it's there for you to use, to play during those times. That's when you play it, during loss and trauma. So you stack it when you're in your safe, sacred space, and then you pull it out and play it when you're in your not so safe space. So that's the short story of this course and what you shall learn in this course. And it's going to help build your power of discernment that I already spoke about, and help you develop your intuition, help you have more self-confidence about who you are and what you're doing here, and as well as help you understand your losses and traumas and how to work through them on your own terms. Those are just a few of the benefits and the outcomes that you, after a year, may see yourself after a year of play. So supplies you might need for this challenge, obviously 3x5 cards. If you're not into 3x5 cards, you need bigger cards, then get bigger cards. If you need a whole sheet of letterhead paper, use a whole big sheet of paper. Pencils, for sure. Erasers that actually erase without tearing your paper. Colored pencils, colored pens, markers. I would also suggest stock up on your art supplies. I believe every human is an artist, and so whatever arts you're into, stock up on those supplies so you're ready to go, because that might come out when you're playing your cards. Yeah, also might want to get yourself some journals, some composition notebooks, especially for the duration of this course, so you can take your sloppy notes down in one place that you can easily refer to, and then you can put the title on the front so you know, oh, what's in this notebook. It's all nice and neat, but not for you. And while you're watching the course, you can just take the notes, and then later you can make your cards when you're in your own safe space and you've lit your candle and your incense or whatever it is you like to do, you enjoy doing to create your sacred space. So that's the short setup. And now I'm going to give you some cards to stack in there. Probably around that many. Maybe another 12 minutes or so, 11 minutes or so, 13 minutes or so of sharing some safety cards to help keep guardrails so you don't go off the deep end. All right. So playing these cards is going to help remove you from that cutoff culture, that culture of critique, that cancel culture, and immerse you into adoption spirit magic. And so your first card is about adoption spirit magic and figuring out what that means to you. And I came across this in one of the holy books on planet Earth. And it's a piece of scripture that sounds something like this. We have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear. We have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, "Thanks God for helping us all." And that's Romans 8:15, the King James Version. And it's all right if you're not Christian, if you're not religious, because what I'm going to say next, I invite you to consider how to express that scripture in your culture. And I took the challenge myself, of course. So here's my reinterpretation of that scripture. And it's a two-sided card. So the first side, the positive side of that card is, nobody's perfect. Life's for learning to tolerate, starting with self. And the negative flip side of that card is, she'll never learn, off with the head. And I put a dash, one of those slant lines in between the S and the H, so it's for she or he. You could put in gender expansive, whatever feels relevant for you. And yeah, that's my interpretation of that Romans 8:15. And so I invite you to come up with your own interpretation, or if either of those work, if you enjoy the scripture or if you enjoy my translation of this scripture, you can put those on a card and make sure that that's in your stack. You're actually building a stack of cards. Transferring what's been in your head and putting them in a physical deck of cards. There's something about writing it down that makes it happen. And there's a book by Henriette Ann Clouser, Write It Down, Make It Happen, that you can read more about that. And why you would want to go so far as to take your deck of cards out of your head and actually write them down, make an actual stack. Another piece that you want to do that is an important part of the safety meeting is stack that deck with the activities that give you joy. Like maybe you love playing guitar, maybe you love learning languages, maybe you love looking at the clouds. So make a card for each of those things and make it nice and pretty. So maybe your guitar card, you draw a stick figure guitar, or maybe your cloud card, you write cloud with a cloud around it. So you get the drift. You really want to stack your life worth living deck of cards with activities that give you joy. That's a large component of that. And that might come up again in later modules of this class. But that's important to note up front. So when you're having a challenging time and you don't know what to do and there's nobody around to talk to, you can go to your deck of cards and you shuffle them up and you pick one, and it may say, go play guitar. And you'd be like, all right. And you just decide that's what's going to help you flip your switch to positive in that moment. You just decide that's how you're going to work through. You've decided to take the challenge, and that's how you're going to help yourself play through. If you're shuffling through and you pick a card and that's not what you want to do, go ahead, shuffle again, pick another card. That's all right. This is your game. Make it work for you. But it's just to help you play through your losses and traumas when nobody else is around. And to empower you to be your own best, blessed. So I'm trying not to use the word good or any of its derivatives as an honor to tolerance. So instead of using best, I say blessed. You be your own blessed mother or father or therapist or doctor or best friend. Oh, see there, I said it again. It's a practice and a study. So these cards help you just really take sweet care of yourself, in other words. So that being said, there are times when you do need to reach out to somebody, and there is somebody for you to reach out to. So please make cards with phone numbers of resources, like a suicide hotline. I don't know if there's a homicide hotline. Maybe you find some centers around your area that you trust, that you know you can go to in times when you're feeling suicidal or homicidal or any variation of those. And you know that you needed extra help. So write down their names and phone numbers, one resource per card, and make sure those are in your stacked for life worth living deck of cards as well. And if you're an adoptee, or if you're BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, person of color, I would recommend to find resources that work with people like you, because in my experience, I found that the ones that don't have experience with you aren't as helpful. You may leave feeling like you didn't get the help you need, in other words. So try to find some relevant resources just in case, for those times, if they do come up again, you have resources in your Stacked for Life deck of cards. All right. Another card that's relevant to add here is the 72-hour card, or the 3-day card. So, you know, there's like the 72-hour hold at the psych hospitals, or maybe you prefer the story of Jesus Christ who rose from the dead in 3 days. 3 days, a lot can happen in 3 days. I, in my experience, have found that the 3-day card trumps the 24-hour card. I grew up on the 24-hour card. I think a lot of us did. Like, oh, you have to figure it out within 24 hours. And it put a lot of undue stress on me. And I ended up feeling less than because I couldn't figure things out in 24 hours, or the feeling wouldn't pass within 24 hours. And the 3-day card provides a lot of grace and relief. And it seems like magic happens. Like, I don't know what to do. And I put down the 24-hour card and I pick up the 3-day card, and then, okay, I have 3 days to figure it out. And magically, shit shifts. And, you know, you might want to add a 7-day card, a moon card for a month, a sun card for a year, you know, for those times when it takes longer than 3 days. So, you know, you're pacing. You have these pacing cards to help you through these challenging times and these challenging emotions, to give yourself more space and grace. And it's, in my experience, provided a lot of relief to not fully depend on that 24-hour card. And truly, so many miracles have happened leaning into that 3-day card. Some other safety cards: your basic essentials, water, fruit and veg, music, nature. You might make different nature cards for the places in nature you prefer to go, like the beach or the high desert or the pine forest. And, you know, make sure you're taking precautions when precautions need to be taken, like for ticks or lightning storms. You know, just take sweet care of yourself and make sure you're being safe wherever it is you're going out in nature. And you could do different cards for each different aspect of nature that you enjoy being in. Music cards, you can do different cards for each band you prefer, as well as the solfeggio frequencies. They're healing sounds. You can research more about that on your own. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, but you can also look up healing frequencies, might be another way to reference that. And music and nature are the first intelligences that human beings develop, according to educational theorist Howard Gardner. I learned I had to take professional and personal development classes as a teacher. In one of my first years of teaching, I learned about that. So all that to say, fast forward to any of your losses and traumas, one of the things that is easiest for you to lean on to help you through is music and nature, because you've been doing that since you were in your mother's womb. So music, nature, water is another card you may draw up to add to your stack, and you may put it in a circle, water, and then offshoots of it, all the different ways you use water, like drink 8 glasses a day, or however many ounces is appropriate for your body type. Take a shower, take a salt bath, dip in the ocean, splash in the rain, all the different ways you can use water. And you may go further to research that element. You know, it's one of the 4 or 5 main elements, depending on your belief system and what you've learned. So you may find out more pieces about water and add that to your water card to help add some beauty to it. It's really special. A couple other cards in your safety, for the safety meeting to add to your stacked deck of cards is, there's some words that you want to avoid using. Should, always, never, and hate. Let's just start with those 3. You might add, okay, 4. Good and all of its derivatives, which is a lot, right? Good, bad, better, worse, great. Try to use more descriptive words. Should is guilt-inducing and lowers your vibration, I've found in my experience. So you may just choose to use other words. So put should in a bubble, put a line through it, use pencil, that's one of your cards. Always, never, put it in a circle, put a line through it, that's another card to put in the stack. Always, never is rarely ever true. But if you think it's true, it puts a lot of stress on you. And we're trying to transmute that stress, trying to transmute that violence. So that's why you would choose other words. So instead of, oh, I should have known better. Oh, you don't have to use should. Oh, I never understand. I never get it. Oh, you don't have to use never. Takes the load off. Hate. We're trying to transmute the violent cycles. Hate's part of that. So put hate in a circle, in pencil, put a line through it. Try to use other more specific words. And lastly, walk away. Walk away instead of taking your anger out on people or being outraged at people. Walk away. Choose a different path. I know in our global culture, it's common practice for professional, president, parent to get people to fall in line with their anger, but we're not doing that here. It's not to say we haven't. I have. And I got to the point where I realized I don't like how that feels, and I don't like hurting other people. So there you have it. Safety meeting in a nutshell. Thank you for breathing life into adoption spirit with me. Until next time, I love you all.